everybody in the video online world. This is part 2 of my holiday themed makeup tutorial. I decided I was going to go do a winter wonderland, and this is part 1. I'm going to do snow around the edges, make it look a little bit frosty, and let's see what we could go from where we can go from there. Excuse me. I don't really plan my videos. I don't know what I'm going to do, but I do know kind of the basis of what I want the look to be. I did like in my last video that I did the actual snowflakes. So that's kind of what inspired this idea. I have a big mess on my desk, so excuse me if I fumble around. That's just kind of how I work. And I, bump into my camera every now and then. No, I'm just kidding. Hopefully you guys can still see me. So I work with anything creative, anything that works. I don't discriminate against brushes, brands, or anything like that. So I'm actually using, for the snowflakes, I used an angle paintbrush. And being that I'm a single mom and stuff, I always worked with the idea that anything that you do needs to look good and it needs to be, affordable. So I do love MAC, and I love you girls out there that are doing MAC tutorials and stuff, but I kind of have to stick to what works with me. And since they're not always makeup tutorials on just, an everyday average look, I got to use different tools. So as you can see, what I'm doing here is I have my costume makeup. It's actually clown white makeup, which is really good. It goes a long way too. It's kind of hard to manage at first. You kind of have to get used to it because it's so much more thicker and it's not as easily pliable, but if you work with it enough, you can get the feel of it, just like any new makeup or any new experience. So as you can see, I did a little snowflake there. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put a little bit of snowflakes here and there. I don't know what I'm going to do with my eyes yet. Like I said, guys, I don't plan this out, so it's kind of go with the flow, and you guys are flowing with me right now. So let's do a couple more snowflakes. And like I said, I'll keep telling you guys about myself. If you want to go find part 1, go find part 1 so you know kind of what I was talking about and things like that. So, I am not an employable person. I am not a 9-to-5. I'm not an average person, so to speak. I kind of go with the flow and follow my heart. And I suggest people out there do the same. I am a mom. I am a businesswoman. I am a free spirit. I am a makeup artist. Not professionally, but technically I am. I am very creative. Thank you, Mom, for that. And I have my tongue pierced. I have tattoos. Guys, get over it if you don't like it. But yet, I live my life off schedule and on purpose, is our saying, or my saying. And that's kind of what I like. I like being able to do what I want, regardless of what people say, because guys, like my girl Samaya Reese, she actually put out a video, and she had said, what I've been telling people is like, no matter what, there's always going to be somebody out there that hates you or doesn't like you or, that has a problem with you. And you can't be everything to everybody. You just got to be true to yourself and know that if you're happy, then that's all that matters. I've actually had to go against the grain hard, just to be who I am and just to do what I want and stuff. And I'm talking about actually having to get rid of like 97% of my family because they're very negative people. They're very, mean-spirited people. And although they might cover it up and say, oh, well, we're just doing what's best or things like that, it's like, it's such BS. I was going to say it, but I didn't. It kind of is like, what's good for me might not be good for you, but accept me as is. Don't sit there and try to change me, or don't sit there and try to put your beliefs on me. To be considered a good mom in my family, I actually had to, bust my butt working a job I didn't like. I had to, accommodate what their beliefs were on raising my child, and it wasn't going to happen, For all you moms out there that are going through it, don't let it happen because it's retarded. Because in the long run, you're not happy, and if you're not happy, your kid's not happy, so you really kind of get nowhere with that. My life is night and day from then to now, and I'm so glad that I made the decision to, move away, not say anything to anybody, and just kind of get out of that situation, because as much as some families say they love you, you can't pick and choose your, quote-unquote family, but if they loved you, they wouldn't go out of their way to hurt you just to try to make them feel better about themselves or their situations. And like I said, as long as you're happy. I was actually driving home yesterday from my son's school. I just dropped him off some goodies for his Christmas party, and I didn't stay because they were doing Christmas gifts for the family. But I passed this guy walking, And I saw him, and I turned around. You know, I went down the street, and I was like, you know what, I'm going to turn around, because he was young in high school, and all I kept thinking was that could be my son one day. You know, and he's like a little emo kid and a little, you know, very creative. He actually brought out his sketchbook and was sketching. He kind of didn't know how to take, you know, a stranger giving him a ride, but we got to talking and stuff, and, you know, a very creative kid, and he said, you know, people don't know what it's like to be different. All the jocks at school, all the people at school might make fun of me because I want to go out there and be, you know, an artist and be in a rock band, but, you know, it's hard. People don't know what I go through. And I told him, I said, you know what, you stick to your guns. You go out there and you be the best of everything, because the ones who criticize you the most are the ones that get the least done in life. You go back to those high school reunions where, like, yeah, maybe in high school, in like a fake, you know, reality, they were like the best people out there and the most popular. Throw them in the real world, and I'm not saying this is for everybody, so don't go write me, oh, I was that jock and I'm successful. I don't care about that. But, you know, you go back to those high school reunions, and they're not so beautiful anymore. They're not so smart, and, you know, most of the time people never get out of the towns they live in or they grew up in. And it's not a bad thing. They choose their own, but it's not who I am, and it's not who that kid is. So guys, as you see, I'm doing snowflakes. I'm going to go ahead and finish up the snowflakes. I don't want this to run over like a lot, 10 minutes and stuff, so I can't put it on YouTube. This is part 2. I went ahead and just dusted a little bit with a sponge down here, and put a little bit of my powder to kind of blend it in on a blush brush, and now I'm just doing the little snowflakes as you see with the little angled paintbrush. So this is Isabel Marie. Find me at Isabel Marie 13 ISABELMARIE 13 at gmail.com or myspace.com/miss MS Izzy ISSY, or youtube.com/quick QUIK no C witted WITTED woman WOMAN, and Akuna Matata, God bless, or just Google me, Isabel ISABEL Marie MARIE, and you will find me. I will talk to you guys later. Part 3 is coming up now. Bye.